I'm Sammy, and this is my YouTube channel, Sounds Like Sammy, and I guess podcast. We'll see. I'm thinking of calling it Nose Job. I am making an album. I'm a music artist, and I'm working on an album right now called Nose Job. So why not make a podcast after the same name? We'll see if I like any of this. But my tagline is, I have a creeping suspicion my psychic ability is stored in my nose bump. And they wanted me to get rid of it. The nose bump, that is. What else do they want me to get rid of? And why? So what is this about? Well, my album and what I envision this potential podcast or maybe just YouTube channel, series, whatever you want to call it, being about is really, Nose Job would depict my foray into the taboo, beginning with a nose on my face, because apparently wanting to keep my nose that looks like this is taboo. But then getting into other parts of my body that society wanted me to change or told me that I should not like about myself. Going beyond that, realizing, oh, I have strange experiences that come with abilities, kind of weird. And how do those interface with the wider world and what's really going on in our reality? For everything my society wanted me to change or hide, I've asked, why? Why? And I've been finding some things out. What I'm finding out is deeply profound and magical, which is pretty cool. And I feel like sharing that with you now, so you can live a more profound and magical life as well. So we'll see. I'm going to try this out. Starting out, I wanted to read a letter that I wrote. If you don't know that much about me, I started out as a writer. I went to college for communication, studying journalism, and I minored in photography. I really wanted to be a photojournalist. But ever since I was very young, a little girl, I loved to write. I always wanted to write. As soon as I learned how to actually hold a pencil and read and form words, I started writing, and I wrote my first book. I wouldn't call it really a book, but just some loose stories in a journal. To me, it was a book, though. To me, it was a best-selling novel. But I was 7 when I did that, and I started writing poetry around the same time and was kind of known in my very tiny community in New England for my poetry, really just my small school and the church that I went to at the time. I'd say my mom made me go to, but we'll get into all that another time. But yeah, my background was writing, so I still write. I've always been writing. I, after college, tried journalism for a little bit, but that was depressing. Again, a story for another time. But now I still write in lyrics, music form. I love it so much. I'll write poetry from time to time. And I write things, concepts that kind of come to me. I'll write out the experiences that I have. I am an experiencer of the weird, the paranormal, and other things that you'll find out as we go. And I will sit down and write stuff out to process. And I kind of think some of that writing's pretty good and worth sharing. So I'm going to start sharing it in this format. Also on other social media. And yeah, it's partly to promote my album, but also just to talk about this stuff because it's weird. And it seems like a lot of people are interested in it right now. They have been for a while, but more and more, because there's stuff in our skies and no one seems to know what it is. So I don't know what it is. I have ideas and theories, but I'm careful to share stuff that I can't actually back up with any evidence. So I'll keep it limited. But what I can share is my direct experiences and how it makes me feel. And then you can take it from there and do with it what you will, what you want. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is something I wrote called The Letter to the Skeptics. This kind of came to me because I've had a few experiences trying to talk to the wrong people, I guess, about experiences. It's not easy. A lot of people think, well, in my society, I just want to say, in the society that I have grown up in, people don't like talking about this. They don't want to hear about it. They don't think it's real, and they certainly don't want to hear anyone trying to convince them, even though I'm never trying to convince anyone, but they don't want to be convinced that it's real. They don't want to be led down some weird path. They don't want to go anywhere away from the comfort of their current reality. And I get it. I really, really get it. But also, I haven't had a choice. I have had so many strange experiences that I didn't want any of them. I didn't ask for any of them. They just kind of happened to me, and I got sick of pretending like they weren't happening. So I'm sharing it, and sometimes when I share it, people have a really bad reaction. And it doesn't matter how much I understand it, it sucks for me. And that's what this letter is about. So here we go. I woke with a poem in my head today. I'm not being poetic now as I write this. I literally mean I woke up to the sounds of this poem reciting in my head. Words rushing to me in poetic timbre. A secret I've known but haven't shared, and something or someone wants it out. What? This is what it's like to have the phenomenon tug on you. Words spew into the brain in involuntary waves. I've written so many things this way. Am I crazy? Must be. I'm sure there's some disorder to explain this. Poems aren't supposed to write themselves, are they? Not in the world I was given. This must be a bad sign. But who will diagnose art? When insanity creates beauty, we call it a gift. But don't you dare tell anyone you're gifted. They'll think you think you're better than them. They'd rather you just shut up and give them the art. Okay, here's the art. I have a secret. Death is beautiful. The moment of separation, terror climbs to an apogee, pushed against the utmost torment. A sharp withdrawal, a pain unmatched. But then, ecstasy floods the being. Existence breathes clear. Heavy breaks to ethereal, becoming tonic billowing. Heaven is only felt once hell is endured. Death is beautiful. Do I get to analyze this? Do I get to ask why this came to me? How do I know death so eloquently if I've only lived once? Why can I feel this poem? Why do I know it? How do I know it? When you don't give room for artists to question how art comes to us because it doesn't sound right, scientific, you leave us to deal with this alone. Do you really wish for me to feel death alone? I don't wish it for you. So tell me why. Why will you not listen when I say I didn't write this? It didn't come from me. It came from, I don't know. I don't know, because you won't let me find out. You won't let me question. You won't let me research. You won't let me be. Your skepticism cuts deeper than my questioning shakes you. And the worst part, I know what it's like to be a skeptic. I was one. But you have no idea what it's like to be me. Or do you? Okay. I have to read it just at least a little bit dramatic because it's kind of a dramatic thing. But yeah, this poem came to me like a lot of the stuff I write comes to me. This includes music and so many other experiences where it kind of feels like it just hits me. Sometimes I actually wake up in the morning with poems in my head, with songs in my head, and I just write it down. And I don't really know what to do with that. I would love to take credit. That'd be great. Be like, yes, I'm such a genius writer that I just wake up with poems in my head, perfect songs in my head. But it doesn't feel like that. It's difficult to put to words, probably because I have not allowed myself to put it to words until more recently. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get better at it as we go. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it unless you've experienced it before. Often people call it a download. I feel resistance to using that term, I think because of how people have made fun of other people for saying, oh, I received a download. It's been belittled. And so now I'm afraid to use that word, which is silly, but it makes sense, I guess, to me. But yeah, what to do about that? What do you do with that experience when information just kind of hits you, or a song hits you, or something hits you, and you just don't feel like it came from you. It's a weird thing. It's an interesting thing. And it kind of makes me think about other things I've talked about. I was recently interviewed on a podcast. If you want to hear about it, please go listen to Earth, a Love Story by Robin Lasseter. You can find it on Spotify. And listen to her other episodes. They're incredible. And she has a book of the same title. You can get the audiobook on her podcast on Spotify. And it's amazing. And talks about some experiences that I have in common with, I'll share eventually. We'll get there. But for now, this is where we're starting. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I want to actually turn this into a full-blown series or podcast. For now, this is what we're doing. And I'll be back to talk some more about the album and my music. And yeah, I guess kind of where the inspiration came from, you can imagine it came from my nose. And being told all growing up, oh, when are you going to get a nose job? Are you going to get a nose job? Are you going to get that little bump shaved off? Which at the time, that was accepted by society. Like, that was an acceptable thing to say to a young girl. Could you imagine that now? Could you imagine a teacher or any adult telling a child now, oh, you're going to get a nose job? You're going to shave that bone off your face? Like, what? That's wild. It's wild to me now to think anyone thought that was okay to say at the time. But they did, and they said it. And I had to act like that was a normal thing. I had to accept that, yeah, people are going to say that to me. And I thought for a while, yeah, I guess at some point I'm going to have to do that. Even though that terrified me. I don't want to get surgery. Why do I want to do that to my face? And then also, I kind of like it. I hated it for a while, but now I really love it. I love my nose. I love how it looks. And it reminds me of my family, especially my father, who passed when I was 14. So, and that kind of changed my response to people. I think that's when I really started to love my nose and really started to realize just how absolutely insanely inappropriate it was for anyone to ask me if I was going to get a nose job. When I'm like, this is a gift from my father and you want me to take it off my face? This is really the only way I get to see his face anymore is when I look at mine. And you want me to change it? Why? So I look more like you? So I look more like people on TV? No, I'm good. And I didn't really see that as being an act of rebellion in any way, but it was. Me just liking my nose is quite rebellious. And I don't know, talking about, oh, it's okay to like this nose was kind of taboo. And I don't know, it kind of started me down a path to here, talking about other weird paranormal experiences that I've had. And a lot of it related to my dad's death and getting messages from him after he died. But that'll be for next time. So thank you. This is what I have for now. And if you like it, let me know.